It sounds
There's
like,
pretty much only one main story
yeah,
this
yeah.
week, but it has several parts.
The American Music Awards. Is that right?
That's the only thing I can think of. It's the American Music Awards. We talked about the European Music Awards, but let's be honest, those are fucking kind of a lesser award. You know,
Yeah,
I
sadly.
disagree with you about lesser albums, lesser songs, lesser people. But one thing I will agree with you is lesser award shows, and I think the
True.
European Music Awards kind of who cares.
I hate to say it too, because the audience at the European one seem a lot more into it, but
Oh, it was better in every conceivable way.
it was better in every way, but at the same time is a lot smaller.
It was beautifully handled. We should be so lucky to get like an EMA level award
Yeah,
show in
yeah.
America. But Green Day, our boys in blue, those GD guys, the Oakland trio, they came up to the AMAs. They played Father of All and Basket Case, celebrating once again, as they've been on a tear this year, the 25th anniversary of the album Dookie.
Well, only
In any
time will
case, did
tell.
you see the video of their performance?
I did, yes.
What are your thoughts on that? They played, of
I
course, Father of All, followed by Basket Case.
I did really enjoy just watching the rest of the audience, watching the show, and in particular, you noted this down. Post Malone was dancing clearly pretty high, and
I think he's a little zoned out. Yeah.
was just super into it too. Like he clearly like genuinely likes Green Day. I was pretty stoked to see
Oh,
that.
we were talking last week about Billie Joe Armstrong and Posty hooking up after one of his shows. So
Hmm.
it's a nice, send up to see Posty looking so
Yeah,
stoned and in the zone, just vibing out to Green Day
yeah, it's
in
sort of
his
cute.
cowboy hat.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's not a
Oh, it
match.
was
It's
cute.
not the kind of match you'd expect, but opposites attract, of course. Everyone knows.
I think so. And and on top of that, just on while we're on that note, I would say there was a lot of fun cuts to the audience. Like you said, that was probably the most fun part. And
Hmm.
everyone, I'd say, look tanked. I think the
Yeah.
AMAs must be a pretty fun time. I think they get everyone thoroughly drunk.
Oh, shocker. Yeah. Yeah.
And then
I
of
mean, wait,
course
are there any award shows where you don't get like trashed though? I've heard that about the Academy
there were
Awards too.
certain ones where they don't serve at the awards ceremony
Oh,
itself.
that seems
It's
weird.
more
It seems
theater
like you'd
setup.
want. It seems like you'd want alcohol so that everyone gets, kind of loose and wild. That'd be the best for publicity.
But this is a prestigious institution, and we don't want to encourage tomfoolery or shenanigans, young
I
man.
can't believe I forgot about that. Of course.
Billie Eilish, I should have mentioned, introduced him. We talked about them meeting up in front of Rolling Stone a few weeks ago,
Hmm.
and she introduced them, saying, "Growing up, there was no band more important to me than Green Day, or me and my brother, her musical partner."
Yeah, I think the brother part of that is key.
Yeah, I think so too, right? Because and I'm sorry if I'm taking Billie too much to task for maybe her love of Green Day. I know she's very young, and we were all posers when we were 17. But when they cut to her and her brother in the audience during Basket Case, you could see her brother singing every single word perfectly along with Billie Joe, and she was just kind of bobbing her head, and then noticing the camera, she like stuck her tongue out at the camera. And I was just like, I don't think you know the words.
I think this further confirms our theory that she's a fake
I
Green Day
know.
fan. After
And I'm
saying "All
sorry,
by
I hate to
Myself" is
do
her
it.
favorite song, like come
It's
on.
gross and gatekeepery, but I truly think I think your brother is a genuinely huge fan, and you
Yeah,
really like your brother and respect his taste. But I don't think you actually sit down and listen to a Green Day record,
I think
which
that's
is
true.
fine. Not
Just
everything's for
just
everyone.
don't
But
just don't
let's
act
just
like
be
they're the most important
yeah,
band to you.
that's right. Let's just be honest about it here.
That's all it is.
Yeah. But that said, at the end of the day, I actually wasn't super enamored with Green Day's performance at the AMAs. I
Hmm.
uh I have this weird little theory that I keep privately to myself, that Green Day is like an every other live performance kind of band.
Oh, come
I think
on.
for their TV performances, I think every time you see them live, I think they feed off the audience, and when you see them for a 2 hour extended period, they have time to get into the right groove always.
Hmm.
But I think when it's just a couple songs on TV, it's really easy if you're not in the right
Mood
space,
or
or the
whatever.
audience isn't, to just kind of
Yeah.
slip out of the groove, and it's just something doesn't click. And I can think of several times, and it's kind of every other time, I think it's kind of just not quite as magical. And
Interesting.
so, as I was
Interesting
saying, I was
theory.
getting emotional over the EMA performance shot
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
most beautiful location in Spain. And then this performance, the AMAs on this shitty stage with a bunch of people who you just feel like aren't that who just don't care.
Oh my
It
god.
just was different.
I had the exact same reaction to the whole thing. I kept thinking back to the EMA one and thought, wow, that audience was so into it, you know? And in this one, it was kind of like some of the people are like kind of singing along, but there really wasn't like a full crowd, vibe going on. It was weird too. At first, it seemed like I saw Billie like smiling quite a bit when they first started Basket Case, but it didn't seem to like infect the audience the way I sort of expected it to.
I mean, it's weird. They were there as like, oh, it was celebrating 25 years of Dookie. So it's just like, that's also with them too, is they're there as elder statesmen, as like the legacy act, which is so strange.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think for a couple of generations who've grown up with Green Day, realizing now that they're on like, classic rock radio and things like that.
That is such a weird thought. Yeah.
I think to us big fans, there's this sense of like, why isn't everyone freaking out all the time?
Right? Yeah.
So
Yeah.
again, I didn't love the performance, but it did not diminish, of course, my love and respect for Green Day. And again, I think it's just a different set of circumstances yield a different performance,
Absolutely. Yeah.
even of the same set.
I'm